Hi, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of Conversations at the Kaya. My name is Lily Rono, and I work with First Carbon as the head of marketing and communications. And I'm joined by
And I'm Kelvin Miner. I'm an automation officer and chiefly someone who hates Enshittification.
Vivek. Also, you talk like at some point, like, yeah.
Do I?
Everybody has that before.
Really? Really?
There's a way you speak, like you spoke, and then yeah came to mind. But anyway, today we're going to speak about a very interesting topic. I knew this thing, but I really didn't know a name to it until during a staff meeting, Kelvin mentioned. So we have this thing during our Monday meetings where everyone says what's new thing they learned over the weekend. And on this day, Kelvin said he'd learned about the word enshittification. And everyone was like, what? And we were like, so he repeated again. And Sheila, I think, was the only person in that room who had heard about it. So I'm going to pass the mic to Kelvin to explain to us what is enshittification and why we are talking about it today.
So Enshittification. It's a term coined by a Canadian author called Cory Doctorow. And of course, as ever, it encompasses the decaying nature of products and services as time goes by due to lack of customer awareness on the level of quality they expect from the amount they pay. So you find that, for instance, we have this new product comes into the sphere, very high quality, okay price, but then after a while, people get accustomed to it. It becomes the industry standard. Then the manufacturers realize that they can start trying to cut corners here and there, trying to squeeze in more profits off the money they're getting in. And hence, education starts. Yeah.
Just wondering, is it, of course, there's the issue of the manufacturer's cost. And even as I was thinking about this conversation, something came to mind. Is it that if Sheila, for example, you went to a shop to buy something, and then there's this bottle that's original, very good quality, but it costs 3,000 shillings. And then there's another bottle that serves almost the same purpose. Of course, the quality has been downgraded. Which one would you go for?
Well, it depends, it's wonderful. But I think in the grand scheme of things, what I didn't say is much like what I calculated earlier, that buy things once. I'm really struggling to buy things once. I'm a consumer, type of culture. I wish for that to be the funny cup, for example. I want the original one, and then a big one comes, but you're not buying that big one. That's the experience. It's and that's the thing now in my house that we find there's a lot of like where you keep the water bottles, for example. I don't know if it's the same in our studios, where you had like the Contigo bottle, the Sandy, both the original and the fakes. And you're like, what's in this? What's happening in your mouth? I think it was also the thing for clothes, for shoes. It's definitely such an annoying thing. But also, I consumer, I think we here and there, but we always easy to just find out to use brands.
I hear you, and when you mentioned the bottles, I really get it because number one, like when you buy these cheap water bottles, it will either leak water or the top something it drops down the top bricks or something of the sort, and then now you find that in your house you have so many bottles with that is missing an aspect of it. But back to you, Kelvin. Ashla just mentioned that you prefer saving and then buy that one quality thing. Tell us more about that.
Ironically, I'm an anti-consumption person. I don't like consuming, but of course I can never beat the urge of wanting to get something shiny. However, I'm cognizant of the fact that if you buy something once, you cry once. Buy once, cry once. That's one thing I always tell myself.
I like that.
You find that if you, for instance, for me, I'm a photographer. I do motorsport photography. The quality of gear that is demanded for in the field, especially for someone who shoots WRC, the safari rally, dusty conditions, rainy conditions, very sunny conditions, conditions of all manner, demand the highest quality of gear. So if you decide to skimp on quality, if you decide to skimp on the kind of gear you get, where you get it from, the overall quality altogether, you find that you'll go somewhere, you'll shoot once or twice, third time, it's dead. You have to replenish.
Yeah.
There's this sense of false economy people have of having to keep on. It's like they're kicking the bottle down the road. They say, when it goes bad, we'll just fix it when the time comes. For me, I've done that. I think I've learned the hard way, and I've just embodied the fact that if I'm buying something, I'll buy something good. Let it last me for like 5-6 years, perhaps longer. And for sure, I know I've bought it once, I've cried once, and I'll let it serve me accordingly.
That's a very nice concept. I was building. We were building our home at a time when also my other friends were building at the same time, and we were all moving almost at the same pace. Like for me, I took the route of I need this thing now. I don't have the money to buy the quality one. Let me buy this the cheaper one, of course, less quality. Enjoy it until I get that money to buy the better quality. And then I have another set of friends. For them, they preferred to save, and then buy that one thing. And sometimes when I look back, maybe I should have gone that route, because at the end of the day, you find yourself spending a lot of money. So have you ever found yourself in such a situation where you have had to buy something because it's about the cost factor? If this bottle was, if the original was affordable, would definitely have bought it. But what's your ethic when it comes to that?
Yeah, well, nowadays I'm trying to change from, because really ideally, execution really is the decay of morals on the side of suppliers, right? And in a take a cut upon like find the cheaper one, waiting for the for money to get the newer one. But as you go, what I found myself doing is let me put brands like let's say the LG, the Samsung, and there's TCL. I'll run for the TCL, which is like a mid,
Not too bad.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mid-range products. Say Facebook goes for like supply of stuff like chargers. A book they'll run more, fucking mid-range, not too expensive, not LQ, and so yeah, that's what I found myself doing. A bit of research on what is the middle ground.
Yeah, I like that, because even when you mention TVs, and we're not here to mention brands, the very shitty brands, like there's someone I saw posted a picture of his TV, and the picture was like the picture was upside down, like the person is reading the news. TV, but even beyond stuff, just maybe at a personal level, I think that there's a way that enshittification is also getting into people's lives, in the way we work, in the relationships that we're dealing with. So how can we prevent or protect ourselves from that kind of thing? We may not have control about the products that are being released, but we have control of our own lives, our relationships, how we do our works and whatnot.
I think I would say as a consumer, just being aware of the brands that that are producing this shitty quote unquote, I don't know if it's not to this quote, but yeah, the shitty products. I think it's good to call them out. One, because I've seen people just call out fake TVs, fake whatever, and then brands it's called they replace them, cutting me at that for certain in sound hands. I think just calling out these brands when when they're paying shitty items. But also asking me also in the space for apps, maybe comment and tell us a bit more. But like subscribe to a certain app like Facebook, for example, I'll give Facebook. And then you ask yourself, what's the alternative to Facebook? And of course, now we are raising hand and the more talk of the coming, but maybe it's fun on the app side of things.
I believe that it's imperative, as Lily was asking, on the relationships part, on the consumer part as well. You do realize that just as physical, tangible consumer items are a brand to the consumer, to the product, to the producers, you yourself are a brand to your clients, and therefore your image, your personal ethics in terms of production, quality, timelines, it's imperative that you try and maintain it. And therefore, if you embody that mentality into your mind, that not the items that I produce are what sustains me, are what sustains my brand, are what keeps the ball rolling, I think that's it's a good way to embody that. It's a good way to always remind yourself that. And coming on to the apps part, you find that these days, majority of these companies have become quite comfortable just pricing as they may. You find that ever so often, for instance, for me, I take let's not mention brands, but we do know where everyone sources their sport from. That one large sports sharing company that's based in the south, in South Africa. I won't mention it, but everyone knows how bad their pricing is. So and they feel as if it's because they've become complacent, and I do feel that's dangerous in terms of in terms of how sustainable their business will be, because if they just become complacent and a competing entity comes into the frame and they're offering the same services for cheaper, it would be less than ideal for them. So going back to the apps part, you find that as she said, if you notice a service is bad, first things first, call it out. There are so many forums out here. Facebook, you can always make a short video on Gram or something like that, or Reddit. Reddit is one large space in terms of consumer products. And
Reviews and what
precisely, when you go to a YouTube review, down there at the comment section, you're at liberty to say as you may on the experiences you've had on X or Y product.
Yeah. You have something to add on that?
I've just seen that Enshittification of actually the one where people treated what
Yes.
I know it.
And it's still here with us. Yeah. So maybe just circling back to that aspect of maybe how enshittification is slowly creeping into our lives. Like for me, being a social media manager, and you go, say, for example, LinkedIn, and people relying so much on AI to generate those content. I remember when Aisha Speed was around, and there were two people who posted almost a similar post, and you could see all the posts. This week, Aisha Speed was in Kenya, and I've learned, those kind of.
Exactly.
It's infiltrating even how we work, how we communicate. Like someone would give a prompt to ChatGPT, copy and paste it, and then go ahead and present. And you've seen this even in newspapers, and they forget to remove those prompts.
That last tagline saying, "Can I make this?" Due to do exactly get what you mean exactly.
And as an audience, when you come across such content, you typically just switch it off. So maybe Sheila, back to you as someone with a HR background. Do you see this creeping in the work? And not necessarily even here. I think even in your circles, as you talk with your friends in the same industry, is this a concern in the industry?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just like he said, our names, or rather the way we present ourselves and that's why you're seeing a lot of like personal branding, what are they called? Technocrats summing up, basically, because we're losing like our personal touch and just giving AI to sort of think or dumb it down for us. And in a sense, what we're losing is just that personal touch. And I think the best thing that you can ever do for yourself is continuously upskill, and also just continuously touch base with yourselves. Like, who am I at the end of the day? At work, in the different spheres that you're a daughter, mother, child, whatever. In whatever space you are, like, how authentic are you? Even in the way you speak, because now it feels like everyone speaks the same.
Someone mentioned that AI is making everyone sound bright.
Yeah, that's true. And it's so sad. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing brands that actually stand up. And then when we're just talking about this, thinking, which brand in the market has not yet gone down the pits of enshittification?
Yeah.
And I don't know why it to be Casio came first, like watches. They're just
It's been there.
they've been there. They have different markets, and I think Casio that was with watches.
Do they have this type of watches down that have 2 steps?
They do that. They're not particularly popular, given that they're typically known for their more analog,
Yeah.
analog and analog at this point is more is dual sided. There's the analog literally moving this, you can see the thing moving, and you also have the analog, the digital analog. So
In order for the process.
so for me, I'd say that enshittification altogether, where I've seen it most is, of course, outside of the quality of work that I've been seeing, and I believe that it's imperative to mention this as someone within the tech space. I've seen it in given that we're not mentioning brands here, all of these brand rights here, they know themselves, and they know the reception they received to their last software update. It felt like really poor workmanship on the production part. And of course, as always, and now to bring it closer back home into the vast carbon space, you find that an entity like vast carbon is trying their hardest to try and remove or abate the carbon emissions into the environment. Whereas you have companies that are producing fast fashion that is worn perhaps maybe 5-10 times and is discarded due to the poor workmanship on that. And therefore, you find that on a grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of things, if you look at how enshittification has moved into the carbon space, what I've seen is that you find you've worn this garment is made of cotton, you've worn some other garment is made of polyester, it was poorly made. You've worn it more than enough times, you're sick of it because it's really poor quality, you discard it. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people do that. All that goes into a landfill. It is poorly recycled. The cotton and the polyester, all of that is mixed. The polyester acts like a plastic bag. The cotton decomposes down below, produces tons of methane, produces tons of CO2. That goes all up into the atmosphere, of course, making climate change what it is currently. And therefore, to be a call to all brands really to factor in that idea of looking to improve the quality of services in terms of the quality of products they produce, such that you have one piece of garment, you wear it for a very long time, rather than it going to a landfill, rinse and repeat, do it quite a lot, and hence, in turn, that reduces the net CO2 emission that the company produces and as a consumer as a whole.
Yeah. Well, as you were talking, what I was picking up was enshittification, in a sense, was brought about by capitalism and the recession, and the people now earning less and less. Majority of the people now earning less, and so companies feeling the need to lower their quality just a bit to fit this budget that the consumers now have. And now with that, then I don't know whether enshittification is justified for some organizations, is that they deliver value to be the extra coin that someone is able to spend in. Yeah. So I think the how we cut it now in like the grand scheme of things. because of that stuff when you do radically. But if your budget is tight, then I mean, you very value as value.
What you're able to, yeah, your budget.
Mm.
Yeah. So and I get it. We might be speaking from a high horse that I'm able to afford this thing, but there's someone who wants this thing is not able to afford that quality, but they also want to enjoy the benefits that come with that thing. I was following a conversation recently online that nowadays there are two types of mitumbas. There's one that's coming from the east, you know which country, and the other clothes are coming from the US and the UK. So for the longest time, most of the second-hand clothes were coming from UK and US, and you could tell the quality. We were getting the levies, the
Yeah, proper
proper garments from those countries. But all of a sudden, we have now cheaper clothes coming from this other side of this other country. Of course, you cannot compare the quality. But then it brings to the to mind the question of is it possible to get a quality product at a cheaper price, or does quality come at a price?
I think it's good to be alive to the fact that quality comes at a price. Yeah. Because say for this brand, I'm guessing the components they use are of a higher quality, say compared to this brand, right? Yeah, they're not mentioning brands. But yeah, so I would say it's good to touch base with reality and just say, you know what, and then even accept as an individual that good thing cost a pretty penny. Yeah, good services also cost us 50 penny. Yeah. Simply because also if you look at even the technology put into it, the research that has gone into it, and then the expertise that they have to hire to do this job and just bring it all together, let the factors of production together for a high quality product, you really can't compare to a copy or
Calvin?
It's a double-edged sword for me, given that as she said, because quality comes at a price, you didn't expect to receive world-class materials at bargain prices, really, to be quite honest. But also, when you look into it, as a manufacturer, they have this thing called a BOM, bill of materials, and when you compare maybe the items that were the small components that are used to produce, for instance, this laptop, it comes at X cost or Y cost. So majority of the manufacturers these days, they're trying to squeeze that BOM as low as possible, try and squeeze it and reduce it as much as possible so that they try and maintain the margin that they always had. But then now that comes at the cost of poor quality materials. And therefore, as a consumer, and I'd argue that, and it's been said more than enough times, as a consumer, your biggest choice, your biggest vote is your wallet. If you decide you have this amount of money, this works just as good as this perceived premium brand that has gone lower down the years, choose this other brand. The sales will dictate to this other brand that by us reducing our quality and remaining at the same price, you've lost clients. And therefore, it would otherwise urge them to push back their level of quality that they had. And therefore, I think for me, my parting shot would be that idea of always vote with your wallet. If you notice that this consumer brand is better than this one, and this one is perceived to be of higher quality, but in actuality it isn't, do as you may.
Yeah, so you know you've mentioned your parting shot, and maybe return the mic to you as we wrap up. What is that one thing that you'd never compromise
On
in terms of course you've said for you, you're the type that you'd rather save up and buy that one thing that you want of a higher quality. But if you're in a situation whereby there's you really want something, you don't see chances of you get that money say in the near future. But what is that one thing that you'd never compromise on?
my compromise is multifaceted, as most things are in life, really. there are some things that I can compromise on. For instance, if I go, but my compromise is always backed by research. Never compromise because of price. Always compromise by reading reviews, reading what comments other people have had of X product that you want to buy, Y product that you want to buy, and make your judgment based off that. And therefore, one thing I'd never compromise on is for instance tech products. If I can buy one thing and it can last me, maybe this has lasted me for now this headed to my 3rd year, works just as good as I bought it when it was new. I paid fully a pretty penny for it, and I'm hoping that it can last me for a longer time. But then I bought it once, I cried once, and I've never had to cry again. But then I'd imagine if I would have bought perhaps a cheaper laptop or no brands being mentioned. If I would have bought a cheaper laptop, I would have bought perhaps a lower grade laptop the same, or an outdated laptop altogether. I would have been thinking currently, oh, where can I get money to get this new thing or this new thing? But then you buy it once, you cry once, and move on to other things.
Yeah, what I want to read about Mesa. I think that this is like a dated prayer. Then I don't want to compromise. Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm with you on that. Sheila. Because even when I go to the supermarket and I buy brands, and the moment when my friends like, all the brands are the same. But when it comes to say, as you said, your health and mostly say food, I do not compromise on that. I'd rather travel a longer distance just to get it at a specific place and not buy something closer home because I can just buy it because it's available, because it's cheap, and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's it from us today. Watch out for the next episode. Bye.